I think the biggest thing in sales, is not selling people. You're not trying to just push product down their throat. It's discovering a need and giving them a solution.
What's up, guys? Lift and Love. Lift and Love here. Where did you pull this question from? Why is that? Lift Love, crochet. We out. What's up, guys, and welcome back to the Lifting Love podcast. You are awesome. And today's episode is brought to you by Lake Hickory Pub and Marina, where lake and life meet. If you haven't done so, go check out Lake Hickory Pub and Marina. All their social media will be in the description below. They're gracious enough to allow us to host here, so shout out to Lake Hickory Pub and Marina. Also, hit that subscribe button, because 70% of you watching this podcast right now are not subscribed, and we're going to fight. Anyway, enough about me, enough about Lifting Love. We got a special guest on today. He's a friend that I've made over the past, we've known each other probably like a little over a year, I was going to say.
Right at a year.
He is the commercial business development manager for One Tom Plumber, where the name is the number. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Evan Gragg.
Killed it, man. Love it.
How are you, my friend?
Doing well, man. Hope you are.
Dude, so first off, thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule. You're everywhere. Thank you so much for being on the podcast.
Man, thank you for having me.
So before we get into One Tom and all the stuff that you do, because like I said, you're literally everywhere. For the people who might not know you, who are you and what do you do?
So my name is Evan Gragg. I am the commercial business development manager for One Tom Plumber and Serve Pro Restoration. So we can throw that in there as well. On the weekends, we've got a wedding venue, so I guess you can throw another hat in the mix there. And first and foremost, I would say, dad, husband is main title. So, I'm going to throw 100% at everything I do, but there I'm going to throw a little addition. So I'm going to run with 110% on there. So
that's so awesome. So many different hats, so many different things you do. Let's take your story way back. Like, where does this journey start of life? Like, what? You were born and raised here.
Yep.
And I know you were saying you did some moving around. So let's go into that.
Yeah. So born and raised in Hickory, North Carolina. I moved out to Stockton, Lodi, California at about the age of 14.
Whoa.
Came back at 17 and a half, and I've been in Hickory ever since then.
So going through high school, like what was it that you wanted to do? Any aspirations while you were in high school?
Honestly, man, high school, entrepreneurship. I mean,
really?
I think that, you kind of fit in that bill as well. You're looking into doing multiple things, just making it work, doing things that you love. And I think that that's the main thing. If you do what you love, then you never work a day in your life. I was told that at a young age. So, I've always enjoyed relationship, people, just being that guy that either can get it taken care of or I know a guy. That was my biggest thing. I always loved being that missing puzzle piece. Like, hey, if you can't get it figured out, like, let me help you with it.
So like genuinely from an early age, it was just nonstop.
Yeah. So I think I've always had a niche in sales. I know my dad bought me some Pokemon cards at like the age of 9, and I kept them for about 2 weeks. And I was like, hey, Dad, there's a lot of kids here who really love these Pokemon cards. And once I get them, there's nothing to do with them. So, my dad spent probably $50-$60 on Pokemon cards. He said, hey, man, they're yours. Do whatever you want with them. And about a week later, I come home with like $300. And he was like, where'd you get this money? I was like, man, the Pokemon cards that you bought me a couple weeks ago? Well, yeah, I realized all these kids really wanted these. So I went ahead and sold it to them. And so that's kind of where it started. I think I ended up buying a snowboard or a mountain board with that. And, so those were always my hobbies. I was always on a bike, some type of playing with a ball or, always outdoors growing up. So I definitely love enjoying different avenues and aspects of things. So.
And if you would have kept those Pokemon cards today, you'd have about $1.5 million.
Right. I don't think I had any Charizards, so maybe paid off my house. We'll see.
Oh my! It's unbelievable how much stuff that's like collectors or nostalgic.
Exactly.
It's ridiculous how much some of that stuff goes for.
Oh yeah.
So it really seemed like at a young age you were just hustling in whatever you can get your hands on. You were hustling.
Man. Oh, lemonade stands. The candy. I would take candy to school and sell it. So I've always been like that type of like, I like doing what I do, but how can I make money doing it as well?
Yeah. So I think that's a part where a lot of people struggle. It's like I have this thing I really, really love.
Right.
How do I make money out of it? How do I make this makes sense, right? Because if it doesn't make dollars, it doesn't make sense.
Exactly.
So was there something specifically when you were younger that you wanted to do, like high school, going into college? Did you go to college?
So I went to a few colleges. Never really attended too many of them, but I was all over the place. Back in 15 years ago, you could catch me in ECU, Western, NC State, so a couple of them. But I didn't attend a lot. Went to CBCC. I was moving out to Western for a little bit, but just didn't work out.
Was enrolled, class sold separately. You know what I mean?
Right. I found other ways to enjoy college without attending the class. So
I think I had a guest on probably 2 weeks ago, and they were talking about a lot of people go to college to figure out what they wanted to do.
Exactly.
And she was like, I went to college to figure out what I didn't want to do.
Exactly.
And like, for a lot of people, college is not the answer.
Right.
Now, don't get me wrong. There's people out there who, it works for them, and college is going to get them the opportunity, is going to get them that piece of paper that is going to allow them to step into the industry that they want to. But for some people, I'm the same way. It wasn't my thing.
Well, I mean, right? You look in 10, 15 years ago, everyone was college. Now you're looking at it. And so I owned I guess you would say just a general contracting company there for a while.
Okay.
Basic deck builds, pressure washing, like your little stuff. I was in the roofing industry for a while, so I was seeing how all these roofing companies were making money. So I opened up my own little thing. But every subcontractor that I used were 50 years old, 55 years old. In 10, 15 years, these kids that are going into trades are going to be able to charge whatever price they want for the product. I mean, as long as they're getting into it and they're doing a good job, they're going to name their price in the next probably 10 to 15 years.
Oh, without a doubt. So throughout that, we'll call it college phase, were you just like working odd jobs? Like how are you making your money back then?
Restaurants. I was, from my first job, I was working at Da Vinci's here in Hickory, bussing tables and hosting. Moved over to Carrabba's and out back to the car side thing. First sales job, really, I would say was car sales. So that was a fun, 6 months, 7 months. I didn't like the hours. Just not my industry. We'll just say that.
Yeah. And I think working in a job like that though is great because it gives you, that sales experience.
Yeah.
Everything is sales, right? Everything is, there's two categories that every business must have to function: sales and marketing.
Yep.
You need to make money, and people need to know you in order to make money,
exactly.
Right? So how was that experience? I know you said you didn't like the hours and the schedule, but that was your first ever real sales experience, not flipping Pokemon cards.
Right. That was the first one that it was hired, and I had a 1099 or a W-2 or whatever that may be. But man, I would honestly say, everything is sales, right? So I even tell my kids, like, when you walk into a room, you need to leave that room better. It doesn't matter. My dad always told me growing up it doesn't matter what you do, but be the best or strive to be the best at it. So, if I tell my kids, like, it doesn't matter if you're going to work at whatever you're doing, do the best at it, because, when you're done with that job, would they refer you to someone else? Or would they say, hey, I know that he's never done X, Y, and Z, but he did a great job for me doing this. I'd give him a shot. So I think, everything, you're selling yourself, of course. Every move you make and every interaction that you have with people is a form of selling yourself.
Yeah.
So I think that that's one thing that, if you walk into a restaurant and they're requesting a waiter, you've sold yourself, because they're coming to eat there regardless, right? Sure. But if they're asking for you, then there's something that you did that made that, interaction special.
Yeah. No, I think that's a great point that you made. I think sales is everything, man. Yeah. Life, like, everybody needs to make money, right? We both have families. We both need to make money to live, to pay bills, right? So how do we make the most money? How are we able to capitalize on that? I think that's such a valuable lesson, because my first sales job.
What was it? We got to hear this one.
Well, I mean, technically my first unpaid sales jobs was my dad has a business.
Yep.
So I was kind of his unpaid salesman, but
right.
I mean, guy had a roof over my head and all that stuff. My actual first job selling was at a sneaker place called Journeys.
Okay. Yeah. I love Journeys, man. Those socks, I still wear the no-show socks from Journeys.
Really?
Like probably the last 20 years.
Phenomenal. And the crepe, the CREP, the water resistant stuff.
Yeah.
We used to have to do like demonstrations, the whole thing. That was my first like actual selling job. And that taught me so much. It taught me that, like, it doesn't matter who like who comes through that door or whatever, like there's always a market for anybody.
Right.
It doesn't matter who they are, what they look like, where they come from. If you have an opportunity, you could sell to anybody.
Right.
And that's really what that job taught me. But going back to you, after that sales job, what is that? What's that journey throughout those couple years look like?
Honestly, man, I think so. Had a couple things that happened in life, and basically, I got put at Verizon selling cell phones.
Hey, there's some good money to be made at Verizon.
People do not understand. I completely flipped the script selling phones at Verizon. So it introduced me to a completely different clientele. I was selling to business owners. I was selling to judges, to lawyers, to, anyone and everyone. Everyone is a customer with cell phones. Mm-hmm. But, instead of being that retail guy who waits on the door to swing, I would try to work 4 days a week. And on that 5th day, I would go out to businesses. Hey, I'm here to do your quarterly report, your annual review, whatever it was, just to get in the door. Oh, we don't have Verizon. Oh, great. I'm sorry. My calculations must have been wrong, or my information was wrong. Well, anyway, I'm sorry to bother you, but who do you have? Find out who they have. How many lines do they have? I wouldn't even ask them what they're paying. This is what I can do for you. How does this look? Oh man, this is actually cheaper than what I'm paying right now. Okay, and awesome. This is with 4 new iPhones or 10 new iPhones, whatever that may be. If this makes sense, call me by this date. I'll get you an additional $5,000 in trade-in credits or whatever it was. And I just started making my own sell. So I wasn't waiting on the door to swing anymore. I was going out to find. I think the biggest thing in sales, is not selling people. You're not trying to just push product down their throat. It's discovering a need and giving them a solution. So that's one thing that I look at, even with the restoration. I'm in services now, so there's no tangible item. Even with the plumbing, it's ugly money. You're getting your pipes your home repiped. No one's seeing that, right? They're not seeing it like they see the new watch and the new car in the driveway. So it's kind of harder to, sell a product like that. And you really have to sell yourself. You have to sell the service. You have to sell that communication point and just streamline the process where it makes sense for them, peace of mind.
I think that's the hardest part in a service. Is like, yes, it might not be the pretty stuff like you were talking about with plumbing, but like it's a necessity, right? Because you don't think about who you're going to use for plumbing until the toilet stops working or the shower doesn't. Yeah, until the pipes burst or whatever. You don't think about those things,
right.
But man, it's the cell phone part though, fire.
Yeah,
great idea to go. And your boss just allowed you to do it, like.
Yeah, I mean, if you make numbers, typically they're not going to say much. It's like whenever you're coming in for a performance meeting, they're probably not going to let you kind of freelance and do whatever you want. But and I mean that worked out for 5 years, but eventually it was just time to move on. And I can go out to dinner today, and people will be like, "Man, wish you were still at Verizon. I need this X, Y, and Z." And I refer them to people, but it's not the same, And I still got messages probably 2 years ago when they're like, "Hey, man, I know you're no longer there. Who do you refer?" So I mean, that just shows the work and the relationship that I built. They knew excuse me. They knew I was no longer at Verizon, but they trusted the relationship. They trusted, the service that I provided for years, that I would give them the right rep to take care of them now.
If you don't mind sharing, again, we could cut this out if you don't want to share. Yeah. What's the biggest commission check you ever had that you remember?
For cell phones?
For cell phones.
Right at $15,000 for a month. Now, there were $3,000 months and $2,500 months.
No,
so
for sure.
Sure. But I mean, Q4, iPhone launch, Christmas, I mean, you're looking at $40,000, no problem in the last quarter. And people don't understand that in cell phone.
It's unbelievable. I had a buddy come and he was like, "Man, you should look into selling cell phones." I was like, "Ain't no way there's good money in it." And then he told me the structure, showed me a paycheck. I was like, holy crap.
Oh, yeah. People would always ask. They're like, "What do you do? What does your wife do?" I'm like, she's working one night at Shooter's Lounge bartending. They're like, "Oh, so you bought this with," I'm like, "Verizon money,"
It's unbelievable. What did that teach you though? Like, I feel like it definitely seemed like it taught you to go outside your comfort zone, right? Not waiting, making it happen. I think those are a lot of entrepreneurial like instincts. Yeah. What was the biggest lesson for you? What was the biggest takeaway from that job that led you into what you did next?
Honestly, man, just taking care of people. I mean, it's like basic sales, say what you do what you say. And just like taking care of people the way that you would want someone to take care of you or your grandmother or whatever. I'm not trying to sell you the spiff phone that makes me the most money. I'm wanting to sell long term because everyone can hit you, hit them on the head and make $1,000 on one sale, but I would rather take care of you and truly, fulfill your needs, make $100, but then in the next 3 years, then we'll make the money. And you're going to refer your friends, your family. You trust me to take care of you and put you in the best position. Because it doesn't matter what I'm doing. I'm not trying to be your salesman. I'm trying to partner with you. I'm trying to be an extension to you and your family, you and your team. I want to be a resource.
Yeah, I think that's such a huge part in business, because it's like you can make these relationships, but if nothing happens with these relationships, or people don't feel like they can trust you, or people don't want to work with you, you've wasted time. You've wasted money, potential money there. That's such a great like perspective to have. It's like, I'm not, cool. Like, I'll make a little bit of money off of this, but like, the money is in who you can refer to me 3 years from now when you need to upgrade. I'm the first person you're calling, like all these different things, and having those recurring customers. What'd you do after cell phones? And how hard was it to leave?
Oh man, it was tough. So honestly, I went to insurance for a little bit.
Wow.
The life insurance route.
How different this conversation would look.
Completely different. I'm not going to, it just wasn't for me. It was more of the final expense. I could sell the term, the universal, but, final expense was tough for me. Just the clientele, the way the sales process works. I just knew it wasn't for me within 2 to 3 months. And, it's funny because God put it on me to move. And, I thought it was churches at the time. And then he kept putting it on me. And then I moved from work. And then it was just like one thing after another, things just kept happening. And, through, following his will and not my wants, it strategically put me to where I need to be, right now.
So then life insurance, how long did you do that, you said?
About 3 months.
Oh, very, very, very short.
I knew right away.
Really?
There was a couple instances where I was just like, oh man, you're going to make X amount of dollars to do this, but it didn't feel right in my eyes. It's this little old lady, man. She's got a 40-year-old kid in the back playing video games, and she's like, oh, I don't want to leave him with any expenses when I go. I'm like, he's 40 years old and he's living under your roof. Like, it's time for him to take care of himself. She's like, well, I can buy this policy and he doesn't have to worry about it. And I'll just quit going out to dinner with the girls, or quit going out to lunch with the girls. And I was like, ma'am, you keep that. You keep going out to lunch with your girls. And, so that was kind of my day of reckoning there. So.
And then from there, what happened?
So after insurance, man, I actually got into staffing.
Whoa,
dude! I've been all over the board on jobs, and
it's a great thing to have. Yeah. You have a lot of different experiences in different industries.
Yep. And one thing that I will say is like the relationship side of sales. I've had the same book of business since I was waiting tables at a restaurant. I've taken care of people. I've just kept building that book of business. Kept taking care of people. So every sales adventure I will say I go on, I carry the same book of business with me. And I try to take care of the same people and just make that book grow.
That's what it's about. I think a lot of people get lost in like what they do, right? Because depending on what industry you go in, it's not everybody's going to need that, right? I think life insurance is a niche thing. Like cell phones is a niche thing, right? Like, but you never know who's going to need it. So having that book of business to be able to like go back and be like, hey, I just want to let you know, last time we had a great conversation. I just want to let you know I changed careers.
Right.
Curious if you need any help in X, Y, and Z, right? Like,
exactly.
I think a lot of people lose sight of that, where it's like, oh, but they only know me as the insurance guy.
Right.
I can't be the restoration guy
I was
now.
Verizon 127 Evan, or Verizon Evan 127, like for the longest time. Like even I would run into people, Verizon, right? I'm like, well, not anymore.
But here's
this
what
is I'm doing now. How can I help you? Type of deal.
Any business you've actually gotten using that?
Oh yeah. Yep. So, hey, I used to handle your phone accounts here. This is what I'm doing now, especially with the staffing. They're like, man, if you deliver a product, anything you did like you were at Verizon, then let's sign me up. So
that's so awesome. So at this point, how old would you say at this point in the story?
Probably 30.
And then how'd you even get with One Time? Like, where does that story begin?
So actually I was working with a competitor of ServPro.
Whoa.
Yeah, I was over at Paul Davis for a little while, and so enjoyed what I was doing. It just wasn't a fit for me. I will never badmouth a company or anything. Yeah. It's just not the right fit.
Yeah. Same thing you're doing now with One Time?
Yeah. Well, same thing for ServPro.
Oh, ServPro. My bad. I'm told we're going to talk about here in a minute, because it's very similar.
Yeah. We streamline them together pretty well.
So you were working at Paul Davis, just wasn't a good fit, and then how did this situation come about?
So I was working at Paul Davis, and I switched over to get into some advertising for about 2 weeks. Got a phone call. Hey, we want to talk to you. There may be a position open. Hopped on a call with Randy, and he was like, hey, man, we'd like to interview, just talk for a little bit. Actually spoke with our sales director on the call as well. And, 2 weeks later, I was in green and orange and, the pink, black, and white. So, but it was funny because, I originally just went for the Serve Pro side, and then they were like, hey, man, how do you feel about One Time Plumber, where we just started up a new plumbing company. And so, yeah, I'd never been in plumbing before. I'd been in restoration, but
plumbing's a whole nother world. And you guys stand out. And
dude, you can't miss us, man. The pink plunger. Like, my kids count the cars on the road. So, like, they're like, Dad, I saw 3 pink One Time trucks today. I saw 4 green Serve Pro. Like, it's a game at our house.
It really is. I think the pink distinguishes you guys.
Oh, yeah.
And I think the cool thing about it is that, like, no companies, what's the cliche thing to say in business? Don't use crazy colors. Don't, branding needs to be. Want to use
blue. You got to use blue.
Yeah,
Everyone wants to use blue, right? It's neutral. It's whatever it may be. It's calming.
So to use a bright, some people would say obnoxious color, that's bright and out there is so awesome because people automatically look at you.
Right. So there was some an explanation on the One Time side for that. So typically, I think it's like mid-80s. 80% of women are the ones that pick up the phone to call the plumber, whether it be residential, commercial. If you think about it, wife's at home all day, something goes wrong, she's calling the plumber. Dads, we want to fix it, right? Until you're calling One Time and Serve Pro because, we don't know what we're doing on the plumbing side. But I mean, it's just one of those things like, women are the ones making the calls, so they put in the pink. And, all of our plumbers, you're not getting the plumber crack anymore. They're coming in with the polos, the pink polos there, very professional. If they're walking in, they're putting booties on. So it's very professional. Keep it clean. Leave it better than you found it. That's something that it was ironically because that's how I've always taught my kids. We talked about that earlier. Leave something better than you found it.
100%. And before we jump into everything with One Time and Serve Pro, let's talk about your family. You are someone who, one of our first conversations was, I think, I forgot what happened, but we were talking about kids, and you just lit up talking about your family.
Dude, that's my pride and joy right there, So, oldest is 16, Jagger. He actually works here at Lake Hickory Pub Marina. Shout out to Dan for hooking him up with that.
Facts.
He's loving it though. It's going to be a good job for him. He's scooping ice cream and filling up boats, doing some food in the back there. So definitely come see him.
Was family something for you that like you knew you always wanted a family, or was it kind of something that happened and you were like, dang, I really, really love this being a dad?
Yeah, man. So I always knew I wanted a kid. I thought one kid. Now we have 3 and 1 on the way. So we've got Jagger 16. We've got Luna. She's 8. Axel is 6. And then Lynx will be here in supposedly June, but I think he's going to come in May.
Dude, that's incredible. Yeah, looking back when you were younger, ever think that you would have?
Oh no, I'm an only child, so I was thinking one and done.
One and done. That's it.
Yeah, I'm done.
That's how it's done.
Yep. I don't know how it keeps happening. We just keep having them there. So
is it just like? So mine's 3 months, so very young, super small in the process. The unconditional love that a child gives, how impactful has it been? How much has it made you grow as a man?
I would say like with the emotional side, like it doesn't matter what type of day I have at work, I've got to come home and be the dad. It's like my wife's a stay at home, so she's got the kids throughout the day. But whenever, I come home, it's dad's time, right? She wears more hats than I do, and you see all the hats I wear.
You got a collection,
but at the same time, it's like I brought them. I wasn't sure we were gonna do the draft pick. It's like One Time Serve Pro dad hat. It's like which one are we right now? But man, I would say like as the father, you're the provider. That family stands on you, and it's like as a man, like that's a lot of responsibility, and that's something that you got to live up to, and you got to be first and foremost the dad, the rock, the foundation of the family. And you can't do it without you've got to have the supportive wife. Like, the single moms and single dads that are doing it by themselves, I congratulate them and commend them. But like, it's very important having the dad in the house and being the leader. And it's like, not just for providing for them, right? But like, I'm not going to miss a ball game. And that's one thing that I kind of talked about whenever I started here. It's like, man, I'm going to work like crazy, but like, I don't miss ball games. Like, even if I have to cut short at 4:00, go to a ball game, put the kids down to bed, and then I'm on the computer until 12 or 1 at night. Like, I'm going to do what I have to do at home first,
That's incredible. What's one of the biggest lessons you learned as a dad?
Oh, man.
So, like, for me, I'll let you think on that. For me, is I learned how selfish I was with my time.
Right.
Like, incredibly, like, I'm going to do this and this and that, and no one's going to tell me different.
Right.
I learned very quickly how selfish I am with my time. What's one of the biggest lessons you learned about yourself?
Man, I got to agree with that, honestly. I'm very, or there for a while, I wouldn't say entitled, but like, I put in this work. I'm going to kind of do what I want to do when I want to do it. And it's not like that, man. Like, I'm running to softball, football, tumbling, youth group. Like, we're just on the move. Like, they are my main focus, So I would just say, putting them before yourself is key. A lot of these parents, I don't see how they go out every weekend and, leave the kids with grandma or whatever. Like, my kids are my world now, so.
It's unbelievable. Yeah. It really is. And then talking about your wife, it seems like you have an incredible partner.
Oh yeah, she's amazing.
I think for a lot of people, and for me specifically, it seems that very successful people have an incredible partner by their side to not only help them with the day-to-day stuff, but also like be a partner, right? Be someone who's supportive, who makes you a better person. How
holds
important?
You accountable.
Exactly.
Like, that's the main thing. It's like, I couldn't do it without her. Especially, I mean, I can leave in the morning and I know my kids are taken care of. Like, I don't have to worry about that. I can focus on what I need to during the day. And I know whenever I come home, sometimes the house is a little messy, but at the same time, I know the kids are taken care of. I mean, she does the homeschooling. I mean, I'm just the principal. Everyone's like, man, how is homeschooling? I'm like, oh yeah, it's easy, man. I'm like, I don't know. I don't do it, But no, she's got her hands full, and I just I respect her and appreciate her so much because I couldn't do it without her. She holds me accountable. She's made me a better man. Because I was pretty wild back in the day. We'll just say that. So she kind of keeps the restraints and keeps me grounded there. But over time, I just feel like you've got to have that. It's you got to be evenly yoked.
Yeah.
So,
how many more kids can we expect?
Oh, no, we're done. got an appointment actually May 23rd at 9:50.
Officially done.
Yeah. Shout out Viewmont.
Oh man, that's funny. It's, I don't know if we had a horrible pregnancy, so I don't know if we'd have more. But if we did, I couldn't imagine. I couldn't imagine looking at this one human, this little baby. I couldn't imagine looking at 2 or 3 others. Yeah. Oh, the man, love, like, so before I had a child, the only thing I could ever, put it to was like an animal. Right. Because
it's night and day.
And it's night and day.
I love my animals, but it's that little human being and that like piece of you. It's
unbelievable. Yep. It's unbelievable. So now back into One Time Serve Pro. Let's just jump right into it. What exactly is it? Because I learned a lot today. I didn't know that they were the same thing. Locally owned and operated. Talk a little bit about them real quick, and then we'll go into all the stuff that you do because you have 15 hats.
So first off, Serve Pro, your water, fire mitigation, mold remediation, general cleaning, bio, a little bit of everything under one umbrella. We do have the repair team, so we can see the loss from start to finish. So you've got a water leak. We can come in, dry it out. If it affects your hardwoods, get those repaired. If your house burns down, not burns down, there's a certain limit that once we hit kind of goes into a complete loss. And then on the One Time side, we do all your plumbing, whether it be drains, clogs. We do the excavation and hydrojetting, which really sets us apart. Specialize in restaurants, multifamily, things of that nature. But the preventative side is what a lot of people don't see. With the hydrojetting, we can come out, we can clean the pipes so that backups don't happen. Most people look at it as, it's a little bit more of an expense up front. But if you look at the average, water losses, we'll say $5,000. paying a little bit, paying your $7.99 to have your pipes cleaned on a regular basis, once a year, whatever it may be.
Saves you a lot of money.
Saves money, So, and that's the thing. A lot of people, they don't, like you said, they don't think about you until something happens, right? Yeah. So, being top of mind, making these relationships, keeping people educated, I think, is key in my industry. Every salesman's going to say, hey, people buy from people they like, right? Everyone says it. But they may not always like you. Not everyone's going to like me. Not everyone's going to like you. I mean, like certain personalities, like they click. And then other times they may like the product that you sell or the service you provide. But everyone likes clear communication, a job well done, and being, receiving whatever they were told they're getting.
Yeah.
So.
This is that reputation, like doing things how you'd want it done for you. I mean, people are just going to like that, respect that, and want to do business again with you.
Exactly.
I think a hard thing in the restoration world plumbing's a little different because there is some reoccurring.
Right.
In the restoration, the disaster recovery, that's not something that is like, I mean, hopefully, you better go play the lottery with luck like that. But usually, average, it's not like you're not having 2 to 3 disasters a year. Usually, really, you're making faces.
I'm in commercial, man, so it's a little different.
You're giving me faces. I'm like, this is crazy.
I've got one client, love them, great to deal with. We've actually built this relationship over the past year. I would say they wouldn't use us. They had a guy, and in the last 3 months, we've been out there at least 9 times, probably. Now that is multi-unit, so you're looking at the multifamily. You never know. Like, we've been to almost every building in the last, 3 months. But typically, your homeowners, hopefully, knock on wood. I had one about 2-3 years ago. Hopefully, I don't need another one. But I was at my neighbor's house last night until 2 a.m.
That's crazy. But what I'm saying is like the average person.
Oh, yeah.
Commercial is different, right? Multi-unit stuff. But the average homeowner, the average one business, right? Like the commercial side. Not many times that they should be calling you in a year or two.
If they keep their pipes clean. With that preventative maintenance, right?
Preventative maintenance, ladies and gentlemen.
Is key. Your flushable wipes, none of those wipes are flushable, so stop flushing those down the toilet if you are.
Seriously?
Oh, yeah. I see Dan's got signs up there. It says, do not flush anything but toilet paper, and there's a reason.
Yeah. So my point with everything is how hard is it to, with a non-recurring, hopefully, unless you got bad luck, non-recurring customer base.
Yeah. How
hard is it? And I assume it's part of your job to go out and find it, but how hard is it to navigate always finding new customers?
I would kind of say with the cell phone business, everyone has a cell phone, right? Everyone's a customer. Everyone has a home or they rent from someone or, so everyone is a customer, but it's really being, staying top of mind, brand awareness. I always say that. That's really what they pay me to do is be out building relationships and making sure that brand is in front of people. But with that being said, if we do a terrible job on the first job, we're not going to get referrals. We're not going to get a call back in the event. So I think that that's key. So it's not just me on the sales, but it's the operation team. And, ServPro, it's a huge company, with the franchise. But what a lot of people don't understand is the locally owned and operated side of things. So I will say Randy Williams, great guy to work for. Whenever this, Hurricane Helene hit this past year, prayers for all the families out there right now because they're still dealing with it. But if I was at a meeting at 7 a.m. in the morning, sometimes he would be there. And that same day, if I was there at 8 o'clock at night finishing up another one, he was there. That says a lot about an ownership. So you see the big name and everyone, it's like, oh, it's ServPro. But no, you got to look under the name and see who's running that and operating it. And it's all family. It's like we're a close knit group. Everyone's staying pretty involved with one another and so many just different moving parts from back of the house to operation standpoint, our water guys, our, fire guys. I mean, everyone plays a role, but it's got to be unity. And I think, that ServPro, for how big of a company it is, does a great job with that.
That's awesome. Cause I feel like there is a big difference when you talk separate, like a privately owned business and then a franchise. And a lot of people think, automatically they think a franchise is like, well, it's corporate. You got to deal with this, and there's so many different layers, especially when it's a national brand like Surf Pro.
Right.
But to know that it's locally owned, locally operated, obviously, I feel like in every franchise you can reach out to corporate for help and support, but 90% of the stuff you have to do day to day building business is happening here in this community.
Correct. And they're super involved with the community. That's one thing. I mean, there's never any time that, or you saw it whenever I'd stopped in the family care.
Yo, this was okay. This is a funny story. So I'm just shooting content with my client, and all of a sudden, in walks Evan, and I'm like, "Hey," and he's like, "Hey," and he's like, "What are you doing here?" I said, "Well, they're one of my clients," and you were just out and about handing material out, and how often does that happen?
Oh man, all the time. And it's like I know the mail carriers and I know the UPS drivers because I'm at certain locations so much that we get a relationship, and it's like it's funny because. I mean, Hickory's a small town, right? But it's also small town.
Small town. I'll put some quotes on that.
Right. But I mean, eventually you're out in the community enough, you're going to run into more people in the community. And just, I would say the more you get involved, the more people and relationships that you build, the more people you're going to run into. The relationships that are built here are going to carry over because, like, you're trying to help people, right? I'm trying to help people. Well, we're in the same vicinity because we're both trying to help people. So I think that that's one of the key things is, like, if you're trying to truly not just out selling, but just helping, you're going to run into that same people and the same mission.
I think I couldn't agree with you more. You guys are at everything. I feel like every event, it's Surf Pro one time, Surf Pro one time, Surf Pro. There's at least a vehicle at every single networking event I go to.
Right.
How much freedom are you given in your job to be able to go to? I mean, because you're four counties, that you serve. Obviously, you go outside of that, but 4 counties that are your primary focus. That's 4 different chambers.
Right.
That's 4 different communities. That's 4 different weekend events that are happening because there's always something going on in each county. All these different events that you could be a part of that are outside of maybe the city or the county, but like a privately ran event where you can sponsor and stuff. So how much freedom is there, and how much management of time do you have, or you have to facilitate the right places to be?
It's crazy. And I'm just one part. So we've got Larry up in Wawa. So you're Watauga, Allegheny, Wilkes, and Avery there. Then you've got Stephanie, who is in my area as well, but she deals directly with the agents. Then you've got Liza out in Iredell. So we're all kind of running and doing the same thing, but we help out each other as well. So I'm going up on, I believe, Wednesday to help Larry out with a golf tournament in West Jefferson. So it's definitely, we're always moving, man. It's like, there are certain days it's like I've got a golf tournament from, 9 to 1, and then I've got to hop over and go to a networking event at, somewhere in Hickory. So it's like, it's always kind of coordinating. And then I've got to get out and hit my routes as well. So trying to, manage all of it. And we just find a way, everyone's like, oh man, what does your calendar look like? And they're like, oh, okay. Wow. I'm like, yeah, I can, we could probably do something Wednesday at 2, I'm like, that works for you. But, prioritizing things as well. It's like, what do I have to be at? I mean, if I get a call, of course I'm going to hop in and handle what I need to call, handle at the call there.
So a big part of your job is the development of business, right?
Right.
How much are you, so it's a lot community. If you had to guess, what is it split between community and like you actually having a lead sheet and going down?
Oh man, it's going to be week by week, honestly.
Really?
Yeah. Springtime, this time of year is big on golf tournaments. The winter, not much is going on, so I'm pounding the pavement a lot more in the winter. But at the same time, it's like any free, my wife gives me a hard time because I'm always selling. So weekends, I'm selling. On our 2 kids, so I was selling roofs at the time of when my daughter was born.
Yeah.
I sold a roof to the doctor and set up a few appointments while we were delivering, right?
Stop it! There's no way.
My youngest son, Axel.
Mid-delivery, you're like, hey, so I know you're doing something right now, but I just want to let you know, like, I get you a great deal on a roof. Add some home value, I got you.
I was listening, right? I waited till the baby came out. And once I heard that, I said, hey, man, I heard about your conversation earlier. Give me 3 days and I'll come out and check it out for you. I'll get you
not even a week, 3 days. The hustle.
Like, we're good there. So my youngest son, he was born on iPhone launch. And working at Verizon, man, that's the biggest time of the year. So honestly, my wife is, like, everyone talks about how traumatic childbirth is. My wife will, like, show up, push a couple times, and we're done. So, like, it's not a traumatic experience for me, of course. You know, for her, it's a little different. But still, it wasn't like I was in labor for 10 hours. Like, they told us to be here at 3 and the baby was here at 4. You know, it was like that type of deal.
Yeah.
But, you know, iPhone launch, I was walking them down the hallways when she was taking naps and getting orders ready, you know, so.
Oh my gosh.
Like I always made the joke, baby's got to eat. So it's a joke. She's like, what are you going to sell this time? I was like, well, hopefully, you know, I can set up the hospital on a preventative maintenance schedule. But,
and not even that. I mean, maybe the doctors just had a really bad week and, you know, he's right place, right time.
right.
How do you, so like one thing that I've learned is that you're either all in or you're all out.
Right.
Right. And it seems like no matter where you've been, you're always all in.
Oh, yeah.
Where did that mindset come from? And how much has that helped you succeed in not just this role, but all the roles that you've had?
Man, honestly, like I said, from a young age, my pops always told me, if you're going to do it, be the best, you know. Don't say you can't do something. You can't do it yet. But if you keep putting in the work, putting your mind to it, you can do it. So, you know, I even keep that mindset with my kids. Like, don't tell me you can't do something. Like, we're going to keep practicing. You're eventually going to get it. I feel like, you know, like we were talking about earlier, like, don't dip a pinky in. Like, if you're going to do something, jump in and do it. You know, that way you can at least say, hey, I gave it my all and it didn't work out. Or you can say, hey, man, I went in, I put it all in there, and look what the payout was.
I think it's something that's so important because there are a lot of people who struggle with that, going all in, or dipping a toe in, or maybe doing what they want to do, but it's not paying enough yet.
Right.
So where they're like,
I've got to pull my chips and take my loss and go. When It's like, if you just hold in a couple more hands, it's going to pay off for you.
100%. How hard? So it seems like you have a really big entrepreneurial spirit, right?
Yeah.
You're very much the atypical entrepreneur. Like, you're hustling, you're making work. How hard is it to not yet have like a business venture of your own, where like you're working for somebody,
yeah,
but you're not really like building your own business? Have you ever thought about that and what that could look like?
Yeah. So, you know, and everyone says this as well, but, you know, always work like your name's on the building, or like, you know, that's your business. Because like my business, I want people, whenever people think ServPro or think One Tom, they're thinking Evan, right? So then whenever I leave or I do whatever I'm doing, they're going to still think, hey man, call him. He took care of us at Verizon, at, you know, Nesco, at One Tom, at ServPro, whatever that is. And he's going to take care of me now. So, you know, it's like carrying that book of business. I would say, you know, with the wedding venue at White Splendor, you know, that's my mom's dream to have the venue. You know, I'm a part of that. I don't get paid for it really, but, you know, I run the website, you know, set up the emails. You know, we were, you know, turning that barn into the venue. And, you know, I would say I haven't put nearly as much work as my mom and Brian and Bobby, but, you know, I'm there any chance I can. You know, whether it's digging posts for fences, painting fences. You know, our first wedding last year, it was nowhere near ready, right? So I was there till probably 3-4 in the morning the last couple of days, just putting in work, just trying to finish whatever I could. So, you know, I would say, you know, just like we were talking about, just put in 100% at whatever you do, and do that you know, how you do the little things is how you do everything. So, you know, if you're sweeping the floor, man, sweep it clean, you know. Like,
I think Snoop Dogg said, if you're gonna be a burger flipper, you must be the best dang burger flipper in that joint.
Right. If you're cleaning windows, man, I better be able to see through them windows. You know,
I should be able to eat off that floor. Okay.
Right. And I think that's just a mindset. You know, it's like, you know, a lot of the youth today, they just want to get it done, right? But
100%.
Do it right, man. You're gonna take that time, and I always tell my oldest this, like, if you're going to do it and I find out you're doing it wrong, you're going to do it again. So why not just do it right the first time? Take that time and do it right. Be proud of it. You know, where when someone comes back after the dishes, it's like, man, who cleaned these dishes?
This was amazing.
This looked great. You know, I'm like, why would you not want that? You don't want that compliment?
100%. What is, if you could, if there's no limitation, what would be the thing that you'd want to start a business on or around?
Oh, man. I don't know. Honestly, I enjoy helping people. Whether it be, you know, I've done some like sales consulting as well. So like, I really enjoy that because, you know, as you can see, I've been in a ton of different business adventures and verticals. And so like, you know, I enjoy it all. I like a day-to-day or, you know, a change from day to day.
Yeah.
So like, you know, with the plumbing and Serve Pro, it's a new day. Every day is different. So I do like that. In sales, you know, as long as you can get the basics in sales, you can sell whatever it is. So I've helped a few people with some sales training. I really enjoy that. Just doing some business consulting or, you know, helping reps and businesses grow. I think that would be fun, you know, whether it be the sales, the advertising, the marketing. So I think, you know, something along those lines. But at the same time, like you were saying, every business has those needs. And so, I mean, really, I think anything that I do, it's gonna pertain to that.
That's so awesome. I could just see you owning your own business. And you know, I think it's super cool. So let's talk about the wedding venue real quick, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
I think first off, absolutely stunning. What's the name for the people watching? All the it'll be this in the description along with every other thing that we've talked about business wise. But real quick on the venue, what's the name of it?
So it's going to be White Splendor in Taylorsville, North Carolina.
And it is this beautiful. It was re-renovated, or that is what the barn was.
So no. This barn was like dirt floor. It was a hay barn. Where our bar area was actually, you know, more storage where hay used to be. I mean, if you looked at, and I'll show you some pictures.
We need a before and after.
Before and after.
Yeah.
I mean, it's night and day. We just got the asphalt road put in last week. So we're really amping up. We've got a few weddings set for this year, a couple for next year. So it's coming, man. We've changed a lot, and if you see it in 2 months, it's going to look different than what it was today. So that's the biggest thing is, you know, mom's putting her dreams out and making it a reality, and so.
What is the ultimate goal with it? Is it really just something that your mom has this vision and it's just what she loves to do, or do you really want to make it this bigger, better thing? Like, what's the dream or the vision with it?
It's so, my mom was a nail tech whenever I was a kid growing up. She always did nails. She did flowers. They used to own a florist. But she's always wanted a wedding venue. And, her and Brian made that happen. And, I just want to help fulfill that dream. And, if I'm big on family and business, everyone wants to say don't mix family with business. But I mean, if you do it right, you want to help your family. So I think it's something that, who knows down the road whether my daughter might move into that role and kind of, that might be something that she's enjoying. But whatever it is, for this time, I just want to help my mom fulfill her dream. And if I can be a part of it, that's great. Help it in any way. But it's beautiful to see just it's beautiful to see the connection that people have and like that love that's shared at weddings, and just making people's day when you see the bride just light up. Or
it's unbelievable.
So
I did my first wedding as a videographer. The power and the beauty in like the actual wedding. I feel like the wedding is like not looked at how it used to be looked at, right, but there's certain times where it's like, when you're in that moment, when a couple truly, genuinely has this love for each other, right, it's unbelievable. And the families are all a part of it.
Just
not
that
like,
unity. And
it's 100%. It's not like one of those where there's a bunch of drama and blah, 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 blah. But like when there's truly a love and a passion for each other, it's like, this is going to be an amazing couple. Right. They're going to have a beautiful family one day. Like this wedding that I went to was literally like that. It was like, this is absolutely amazing. And like to be a venue in that, first off, probably pretty scary because you need to find the people who are having weddings, right?
Right.
But to be able to have a foundation and then grow on top of that, knowing that you have events booked for this year and next year, I mean, that's got to be super cool to be a part of.
Oh yeah, man, and I'm sure we're gonna increase our weddings next year when you come out there and shoot that video for us too. Right?
Yeah, I'm working on. I have a bunch of ideas I want to help out with, but You guys have a full website for that?
So
You want
it's,
to shout that out?
whitesplendornc.com. So we're right there in Taylorsville. You can come by anytime, set up a tour. We are going to set up a styled shoot bridal day, kind of intro, grand opening, whatever you want to call it. We've linked up with a few partners as well, just friends of ours. We were in a life group together, Kelly Williams, Bushel and Peck. So we've, back when I was prettier, my wife and I did some styled shoots for her. Amazing company. She's got all the rentals and things like that. So we want to partner, bring in some photographers, some vendors, just to kind of let everyone see the venue, but also, showcase what they have to offer. So, we're going to set up on our page, your DJs, your caterers, things, links to help other people as well, and to streamline that process for the bride to say, hey, you've got 1,000 things to do. If we can help, plug in some of that, would love to help in any way, help friends, help the community, use locally owned and operated businesses. So,
1,000%. I think the power of community has come up multiple times subtly here, right?
Yep.
How important is the power of community, and not just for the venue, but for everything that you do? And it seems like in life, where it's like your kids, they're doing all these sports, they're doing all these different activities. Like, community is such a powerful thing. How do you view community, and how much? I mean, just considering you've lived here, besides that little time that you weren't, a majority of your life, how awesome has it been to see the growth in this community?
Oh man, it's amazing. Community and leadership, it's like those two things just kind of coincide with one another. We need more leadership in the community. We need more good influences for the kids. If you look at it, if kids, idle time is the devil's playground, right? If we don't have a good community where our kids can go out and do things, and have positive influences around, then, the community is going to fail eventually. So I think, investing in the community is huge. Everyone wants to invest in their own, ventures and things like that. But if you look at the overall, when you're helping the community, everyone's growing. And, I'm not the type, like, if I'm going to be way up here and everyone else is lower, that's not, I don't feel like that's a good thing. Whether that, some people do feel like that, they want to just, elevate themselves. But, if I can elevate me and everyone around me and make the community better, I think that's, a key component in overall growth. Whether it be with our youth, with businesses, with, whatever it may be, if you're investing time and efforts and things, like, you're going to see a return on that. So why not invest in the community?
Any regrets in life? Anything that you'd go back and change? Anything that you would be like, man, maybe I'd do X different. Maybe I'd do Y differently.
No, not really. I mean, if you know my past, like, I went through a pretty rough patch back whenever I was in my mid-20s. But I don't think I would change it because it made me who I am today. I feel like it put me to where I needed to be. So, I was trying to control everything for the longest time. I finally surrendered, gave it all to God, and was just like, I can't do it myself. You gotta, I'm gonna give it to you and let you do work. So Psalms 50:15 says, call on me in your day of trouble. I'll deliver you and you'll honor me. So
how important has that relationship been with you to, not to get emotional here. No, you're good. How important was that relationship, and how much has that changed you? Because it seems like it's a part of who you are. I mean, you're wearing the cross around your neck. It seems like it's who you are as a man, as a father, as a leader, as a community leader. Yeah. You're everywhere, and you have that touch of influence, and you're able to spread the message through the action that you're doing. How important has that been for you?
Man, I think that's like the main thing, if you're, it's gonna pour over into every aspect of life, your business, your marriage, like, if you're doing right and, you're aligned with what God's plan is for your life, I think that it's just going to come full circle. Like King Solomon asked for, or when God was going to grant him anything, could ask for the riches, could ask for everything. He asked for wisdom. And then, all of it came, full circle there. I think that's the main thing is like, don't ask for your wants, ask for your needs. God's going to provide for you, but it's not, always on your time or what you think you want, because, you know, sometimes like what you want isn't what you need. Sometimes you just gotta be, you know, obedient to where you're supposed to be in life and what roles you're supposed to play for the overall, you know, long-term game plan for what he's got planned for you, you know. So
Don't ask for your wants, ask for your needs. I love that.
so, you know, and just pray, have, you know, like, don't worry about anything, you know, pray about everything. And just you know, sometimes I'll get in my head at night, and, you know, anxiety, and you're thinking about all this, you got to provide, you've got to, you know, I'm working for 3 different things right now. And it's like, sometimes it's a blessing to have that, because it'll make you sit back and truly just like, hey man, I'm trying to control all this again, and I got to take my hand off the wheel, give it to God. And it humbles you, and it puts you on your knees. And, you know, God will strategically place you in his will and not in your wants, whenever you truly surrender and give it to him. But if you're trying to fight it and you're trying to make your own way, it's like, you know, in the long run, you know, I'm going to take this wheel and I'm going to crash. So
I love how it just pours out of you. I think that's the thing about it, is that you are such an important piece in the community. I think it's when you have the ability to be so many different places, wear so many different hats, you don't realize the impact that you can have on people. Yeah. I mean, even just with us meeting a year ago, like you've become a friend. You've been someone who, every time we talk, like, and it's so funny, like, we never, until recently, because, you know, you told me about the wedding venue.
Right.
Until recently, it was like all family, this. It was we never talked a lick of business ever.
Right.
And I think that's such a great part of what makes not only you, but the people in this community awesome. It's like, there's people in this community that genuinely care.
Yeah.
And you're one of them. And it's like, look, we could do business. That's great. But like,
I care about you as a person. I care about you, you know, as a father, like your family. Like, how can I help you in any way? Not just business, but, you know, if I can be you know, give you any advice, or, you know, you're going through something, like, let me know. Like, half the time, whenever I'm going into offices, I'm not talking business. I'm talking life with people. Yeah. You know, most of my maintenance guys, I'm not asking how many leaks they've had this week. I'm asking, you know, how'd your turkey hunt go last week, or whatever it is, because I just feel like, you know, being on that playing field of just being a real person, building these relationships, not because I want something out of it, just because I'm curious on how their day's been, you know. And
that probably leads to the best relationships, the best follow-up. You probably get more business from that than you do if you walk in and actually talk business.
Right. I will say, I was in a property manager's office one day, and she was going to kick me out. Like, nope.
No soliciting.
I don't have time. Oh, I get asked if I can read all the time. And I'm like, no, ma'am, I'm in sales. I'm sorry. I can't read, you know, no soliciting. But yeah, I walked in this office, and she was going to kick me out. Right. Nope, we're good. We don't need anything. I was like, okay, well, you know, just want to introduce myself. Here's some stuff. And she, I just kind of like slowed down. I wasn't trying to pitch. I wasn't trying to do anything. I'm just, hope you're having a good day. And she was like, I'm really not. She just broke down. And so this lady who was trying to kick me out of her office ended up, we're sitting here, and, you know, I don't mix politics and religion too much in business from day to day. I definitely stay away from politics, because that's your opinion. I have mine. We're not going to change anything. So keep it Switzerland. But religion is something like, I'm not just going to go, you know, preaching at people at work, right? But if it comes up, like, I'm gonna throw a little bit in here,
spice,
you know. And it went from, she was gonna kick me out of her office to, like, we're sitting here praying. I'm praying for her, you know, just whatever she's going through. Now it turns out she's no longer with the company anymore. So it was praying to go in a different direction than where she was at. But it was funny. She's like, yeah, my son's a worship leader. Turns out we go to the same church now, and it's just comes full circle. But, you know, if you look at that, like, we are set up with that property now, but, you know, not with her. You know, but it's funny because, you know, before she was going to kick me out, and now we're sitting here in the office having a one-on-one conversation. We're sitting here praying for her,
which is just an incredible feat to all the stuff that you do. So just to wrap up, how can people, let's say people want to work with you guys.
Yeah.
God forbid something unfortunate happens, a disaster, whatever. How do people find you? Social media, website? How can people get in touch with you guys?
Oh man, One Tom Plumber Hickory, Serve Pro Alexander Caldwell, and then we've got, I think that's our handle for Serve Pro, but Alexander Burke, Caldwell and Catawba, Serve Pro. You can follow One Tom on Instagram, Facebook. We've got Instagram, Facebook for Serve Pro as well, and White Splendor, Instagram, Facebook. And yeah, man, you can hit up my personal Facebook as well. Like I answer my phones. I've got 2 over there. I can't believe they're not ringing off the hook right now. But I always pick up my phone calls. That's the main thing is like, you're not calling an office. You know, if we've got that relationship, you call me and I'll handle it. A lot of times people call me. They don't even know if they need Serve Pro or One Tom. I'll say, hey, Evan, I need you. I'm like, is it Serve Pro or One Tom? I don't know. I'm like, all right, let me come check it out. Let me see what it is, and I'll make sure you're taken care of. So.
Yeah. It is really funny that you do have 2 phones. You are a busy person, and I really do appreciate you taking the time.
Oh, man. Hey, I appreciate you having me on here. I mean, like what you're doing, I love it, man. I will support you anyway. You know, I love you as a person. Since we've met a year ago, man, it's just like you're genuine. I don't feel like you're trying to do anything, you know, like out of, I just want to get them on to build my brand. It's like you really want to you love what you do. You can tell.
So much fun.
And, you know, like getting the people in the community, and there goes community again, but getting the people in the community in this area on these podcasts and letting them tell their story, not just pushing on the business. You know, I think that's huge.
Yeah, 100%. And then we're remiss if we didn't take a dig at Andrew, who I love so very much. He said everything that you said. I'm just saying, you know, it's unbelievable. He took that from you. He took that from Andrew, from Spangler. He took all the words that you were going to say, did it on the podcast. I'm telling you, you were telling me.
He did. I did watch a little bit of his podcast. Y'all did call us generic, so I was like, oh man, it's like, you know, there's, but no, I'm just kidding. Andrew's a great guy. I'm not one of those people who are like, oh man, he's a competition. Like Andrew and I, we talk at every meeting and you know chamber events. He's a good guy. He's a good family guy. I see, you know, the relationship with him and his daughter, and yeah, no ill will toward you know. Any other companies, you know, there's certain ones that I would say, oh, well, you know, let us take care of you. But man, it is what it is. Like, you know, there's enough business to go around. We just want to make sure everyone's taken care of because there are so many restoration companies that are putting a bad taste in everyone's mouth. We won't name any names today, but there are definitely a few. But yeah, man, we just want to make sure you're taken care of. And, you know, we work with the insurance companies. We work on self-pay. And it's all about just being fair, honest, and, you know, like I said, doing what you say and saying what you do.
Now, one of my biggest lines that I say all the time is that there's no such thing as competition.
Right.
I feel like if we're in the same industry, we could at least have a conversation together.
Hey,
we're going to bid on prices. We're going to go after the same clientele, but like there's enough food to go around for everybody.
And like we were saying, like, so-and-so may not like me, and they may not like Serve Pro or whatever it is. And if I can help them still, hey, you might not use Serve Pro, but, you know, if you're going to use him, he's a good guy. Like, I'm not going to badmouth him. You know what I mean? Like,
for sure.
Like, if you're giving him a call, you're in good hands. You know?
For sure.
You know, I'm not going to push other businesses, of course, but
hey, you know, you don't like me? There's other places out there.
Yeah, but I will say, man, Andrew called me one day. I was at the beach, and Andrew's like, hey, man, I got a buddy. He needs some plumbing stuff. And I'm like, all right, man, I appreciate that. You know, it's like genuinely like, he's like, they were dealing with X company, and I just told him I'd be hesitant there. And he's like, I gave him your number, take care of him. And they're still using us to this day. So I greatly appreciate that. And
all joking aside, I love you, Andrew. I think Andrew's a great guy, but I had to bring that up. I was curious what your thoughts are. And then the absolute last thing before we get out of here, for someone watching, it could be life advice, it could be business advice. The last thing we end with is, what is the best piece of advice that you could give to someone watching this right now?
Oh, man. Oh, best piece of advice. I would say, man, like, live every day to the fullest. Put all of your efforts into whatever you love. Just because you never want to look back at something and say, I wish I would have done this differently. You know, don't let anyone put any thoughts or plans in your head. If you have a feeling and a gut feeling to do something, jump and do it, and put it all in. Throw all your chips on the table and go all in on yourself.
I love that. Thank you so much for last thing. Thank you so much for your time.
Appreciate you,
I
brother.
appreciate you so much. I know you're super busy. I bet there's 50 messages on that phone right now. But seriously, thank you for taking the time out of your busy schedule and all the stuff that you do with not just your family and your in the business, but everything. So definitely appreciate you spending the time here.
Thank
if
you
you haven't done so, make sure you go check it out. One Time Plumbing, One Time Plumber, and Serve Pro. Same thing, but not same thing, but it's the same person who owns it. It was a lot to take in. I was like, wait, they're owned by the same person? And he was like, yeah. I was like, interesting to know. I think it's cool to have like both industries where it's like the maintenance side and
separate franchises, but same
ownership.
You know,
yeah,
that works out.
Gotcha.
So.
But if you haven't done so, go check them out. All the links will be in the description. I'll put their social media, their website. If you need them, check them out. I couldn't recommend better people. Again, seriously, thank you so much for your time. Also, Lake Hickory Pub and Marina, where lake and life meet. Thank you so much for allowing us to film here. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't. But most importantly, lift love, crochet. And just like that, we out.